Today we're speaking to an entrepreneur that's got a company that teaches people how to do sales, helping himself to £4 million a year. He's considering taking equity, an investor in, to seriously grow the business so he can go faster. I don't think he needs to do that. Lots of entrepreneurs face this conundrum. Should I give up part of my business to go further, faster, quicker? Well, I don't think you need to, and I have the solution. Listen in. Hello campus, welcome back to the Business Broadcast. I'm James Sinclair. You can follow me on Instagram at James Sinclair Entrepreneur, or you can follow James Burt, my co-host here on the Business Broadcast, at James Burt Official.
Thanks very much. Lovely to be here.
Thank you very much. Who are we talking to today, baby?
Today we are talking to Richard Few from salesgeek.co.uk. He's been going 7 to 8 years. He is doing 400,000 squidaroonies, estimated monthly revenue, 17 team members.
Few! Sorry.
Just so we're aware, how many times are you going to be doing that today? Just the one?
No.
You're an absolute idiot. The oracle of British entrepreneurship and an absolute, still a clown in every sense of the world. Yeah. 17 staff plus 60 franchisees. So we need to find out what this business actually does. Biggest challenge, international growth. Second biggest challenge, transitioning from being a founder to a CEO. Third biggest challenge is managing cash, as it's been a bootstrap business so far. We asked Richard, where do you want to be in 1 year's time? He said he wants to be in 4 more countries, growing his global footprint.
Do you understand exactly what they do?
No, I've got no idea.
Because everyone keeps saying they're doing sales. Well, every business does sales, but what do they
I think they do
do?
sales training. That's what I think they do. But we'll find out. We'll ask Richard in a minute. It's a very nice looking website. More sales delivered. Provide experts. I think they provide expert sales training, consultancy, sales training, and sales directorship. Is what I think.
I actually do like that headline.
Headline.
Maybe we can put that on screen. Make sure that's put on screen so everyone can see.
This is a great website. This is not a good website. This is a great website. Look at that. You know exactly where they talk about this in website terms like UX. What's the UX? What's the user experience?
Yeah.
And the UX on this is very good. They're ICP, corporate partners of the Institute of Sales Professionals. Straight away, it pops you a message. This is a great website. Go and check this out. Salesgeek.co.uk.
What do you think makes people get sales in a business? What's the secret sauce in your opinion? Let's see if he agrees before he comes on.
What to successfully sell? I think if you provide a solution to a problem as quickly as possible, I think. Do you know what the number one question you have to ask people before you sell them is, how can I help? Because if they don't need what you're selling, you can be the best salesperson in the world. It's like when people go like that Jordan Belfort, whatever, Wolf of Wall Street, is like, sell me this pen. It's like, well, do you need a pen?
Yeah.
Like if you're drowning, you don't care about this pen.
Yeah, that's very true. But maybe let me reframe the question. What makes someone buy podcast services off of you over the competitor that you may have?
Because I'm exceptionally talented and I'm friends with James Sinclair. That's my number one thing.
I do think the exceptionally talented is what makes people would be greasing of the wheels to make to buy from you, or another. You know, the brand that has the trust. That helps.
Yes.
I think that's the WD-40 on making the decision. Establishment. Certainly establishment is a big thing that I have discovered in business. The more you've been around, the longer you've been around. I think they're the back of mind moments that people are thinking about. And it's the knowledge and the expertise of the individual that's selling to you. If they're passionate about the product because they've worked with that product, for so long.
I think it's a belief that you can deliver the outcome that they're looking for. If they genuinely, I think all the sales process is making sure that you take them on that journey of understanding that you can deliver what it is they're looking to achieve. I think that's probably it.
Okay, so what's Richard
in a minute because he knows good stuff.
So what's the challenges?
So challenges: international growth, transitioning from being a founder to a CEO, and then managing the cash because they bootstrap the business. In 1 year's time, he wants to be in 4 more countries. Then we asked Richard, "What does a business look like when it's finished?" He said, "We would have delivered on our mission to change the way the world perceives sales." Do you make the profit that you want to? Oh no, he huffed.
Why does everyone want to go international? There's 70 million people in the UK. I bet there's loads of more opportunities in this country without thinking about 4 other countries.
Well, we'll find out in a minute, won't we? We'll find out. What is the business? No, we've already covered that. Do you make the profit that you want to make? And if so, what is it? It says we are on plan, but we're reinvesting constantly in the growth. So no, they're not. How do you spend your day-to-day time in the business? Mainly on our global growth. Outside of that, I'm firefighting a lot still. And then there's a bunch of questions the lovely Richard would like to ask to you, James Sinclair. But before we get to all of that kind of good stuff, there's a knock at the door.
Interesting quote of fact.
Oh, that was loud.
Interesting quote
Sorry.
of fact. Interesting quote of fact. It's time for the interesting quote of fact of the week.
Oh my good God.
I've got fact.
Thank you. I was sent a link the other day to Dave Ramsey. Do you remember when we first started this podcast? We were like, we should make it like Dave
Praise the
Ramsey.
Lord,
Yeah,
Dave Ramsey.
but Dave Ramsey is a 15-minute like keynote that he did.
You sent it to me.
Oh, it was. Did you watch it?
Oh,
no,
God.
I didn't bother.
I know.
I didn't. Do you know what, JP? The thing is, I'm a very busy, intelligent guy. I'm very attractive. I've got a beautiful wife and a lovely family. I ain't got time for all this tosh, which is my new favourite word at the moment is tosh.
I did watch about 5 minutes of it. It was over-edited for my liking.
Wow. Over-edited, coming from a guy who has 17,000 features in a 45-minute podcast.
I mean, it's the cuts were over-edited.
I take your point.
Do you ever get that? You think it's
Yeah, just a
over-edited?
bit, yeah.
Go
But I liked. So all of my quotes for the next few episodes will be from Dave Ramsey because I
Go on,
think
what's-
he
what's
speaks
a Dave Ramsey
a
quote?
lot of truth. I love this one. You're gonna like this one. In fact, I'm so confident. I'm gonna give it that.
What? It's got cold in here. So did the heating go off?
Yeah, it's gone off our little
Oh,
things. I know. I don't know what's
It's
happening there.
freezing in here.
Energy efficiency. It's like 13 degrees
We
in
need a
here.
telescope
No,
to
it's
find my
cold.
penis, I tell you.
And it's cold. If you plant, I mean, let's just let that sink in for a minute. Done. If you plant nothing, nothing grows. The same rain comes, the same sun shines, but still nothing grows.
Fine. Can you say it normally now? Because
I can't get over the fact that someone made that jingle for us. I love that jingle. If you plant nothing, nothing grows. The same rain comes, the same sun shines, but still nothing grows.
yeah. No, Jim Rohn said a very similar thing.
Did he?
You gotta
How you
sow
gonna
those
tell?
seeds. You gotta sow those seeds.
It's not the same then, is it?
Well, similar, yeah. If you want things to grow, you gotta sow the seeds. That's what he used to say.
What have you got?
I've got a fact. So it's a game. Both of you have got to play
Oh,
along.
cool. I love a game.
I'm talking about sales. I was thinking, who sells the most in our country? What are the biggest companies in the country? Supermarkets sell lots and lots of stuff. What is the most sold item at a supermarket? What's the most sold item at a supermarket? Place your bets, please.
Producer Stevie.
Originally, I was going to say bottled water.
Oh, that's a good guess. But it's not. It's not.
It's good, but it's not right. Remember that catchphrase?
Yeah.
You're too young for that. You go, well, it's not right.
It's not right.
It's got to be like veg, isn't it? Apples.
That's eerily close.
I think it's apples or bananas.
It's bananas.
Is it bananas?
Oh, bananas.
Bananas in pajamas. They outsell even bread and milk in many stores.
Do you know what I thought this morning? Aren't bananas good value? Like I went to M&S and like everything in M&S is expensive. I had like a little Bircher muesli thing. It was about that big. It was £3.50. I mean, it was delicious, don't get me wrong. I bought a banana. She went, oh, you've got to scan it over there. So I went to the scanner. I was like, oh my God, so you've got to weigh the scanner. I thought it was 90p for a banana. It's 90p a kilo for a banana. It was 19 pence.
Yeah.
Sustenance for 19 pence. There you go.
I've got some more supermarket facts here.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
The first supermarket opened in
know some
1948. It was a cooperative in London, inspired by the American self-service model. Before that, you had to ask shopkeepers for each item behind the counter.
No,
in the Victorian
really?
supermarket. You used to say
Till the 1940s.
1948. Well, that was only 4 years up. Well, 4 years after the war started.
I'm really surprised. But
To be fair,
Sainsbury's-
all I think about when you said that was open all hours.
Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
what it used to be like. Yeah. And think about this. Now, this is very interesting. There's a lot of business and science that goes into making a supermarket really tick. And I've studied it lots because that's the kind of guy I am. So I'm going to ask you some quick things here. In 2015, Prime Minister David Cameron introduced the 5p plastic bag charge. Supermarkets reported a blank percentage drop in plastic bag usage within a year. What do you think the answer is? I remember the jokes when they first came out. People were saying, my utility cupboard is now worth £24.50 because it's stuffed with plastic bags. What was the percentage drop in plastic bag usage once the 5 pence was introduced?
I reckon 50%.
I was going to say 35.
It's 85% drop.
Whoa.
Wow, we were.
There we go.
They are all profiteering from it now, aren't they, as well, though? Because that was like to stop plastic use. Again, M&S, shout out to them for the cheap bananas. 45 pence for a
they're
paper bag.
expensive, yeah. I think that's very interesting. But this one, very interesting about the science of human beings. Some supermarkets use different background music in different aisles. Research shows slower music encourages people to browse longer and buy more.
That's true, yeah.
And then I've got another little thing for you. This is, why is the cereal, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast.
This feels like a joke.
No, why is the cereal at the back of the store? Why do you think that is?
Why is the cereal at the back of the store?
Have a little think about that.
It's not always at the back of the store, though, is it?
It is always.
I actually have no idea.
Why do you think it's at the back of the store?
I don't know. I know there's like a psychology of why they place certain things in certain areas. You can tell if you're in a lower demographic area.
Think about the supermarket now. You go round, it's smaller at the start and the stuff gets bigger.
Oh, because you don't want to fill the trolleys too much.
Yeah, so it makes you look like you've had bad value. You think your fruit and veg is small, your meat is small. That's all the stuff that is expensive. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger as the thing. And then that's why Costco, best company in the world, in my opinion, have much bigger trolleys, because as you fill it up, you therefore don't perceive that you spent that much. That's why a Costco trolley is double the size of a supermarket trolley.
Oh, really? I haven't been to a Costco. I need to go to a Costco.
Never.
Well, I've been once when I was a kid with an American friend. They're like, hey, James, look at all the cookies. The cookies were fantastic.
Well, that's interesting fact or quote of the week concluded.
Done. Have you got an interesting fact or quote?
Well, I do, but it's not related to anything business. But it's just quite fun.
Go on then, let's hear it, Steve.
Let's hear it if it's fun. We like fun.
It's about hippos.
Exactly.
Okay,
what
fine,
business
yeah.
podcast.
So hippos sweat pink. And within that sweat, there is basically a sun cream, which means they don't get burnt. And it's antibacterial, so they don't get ill.
Oh, well, there you go.
Hippo facts, everybody.
Hippo facts, everyone.
Thank
That's
you.
the
Thank you.
David Attenborough section here on the podcast.
And now we see Stevie in her natural habitat as producer. Right. Is that everything that we need to do before we have the conversation
Yep,
about
let's do
business? Fantastic.
Hey gang, we're going back to the pod in just a moment, but I wanted to tell you about Entrepreneurs University. This is a platform that I've created for entrepreneurs and business owners that are serious about growth. There's 100 video lessons from me on everything in business, raising finance, buying companies, property investment, and everything in between. Attached to each video is a downloadable PDF that goes into more detail about what we've learned in the video. It goes one step further than that because I've also put stuff that you won't get anywhere else onto Entrepreneurs University. The lessons go into way more detail, but not just that. You're going to get my business plans, my spreadsheets, and all the files that I use to drive the KPIs in my business. Just think about how powerful that could be for your business. And here's the good news. You can try Entrepreneurs University for free. 14-day free trial. After that, it will cost you just $49.99 a month. That's less than a pair of Nikes to grow the profitability in your business. There's a link in the video description, and I cannot wait to see you in Entrepreneurs University.
Right, let us get Richard on the show then. Richard, how are you, sir?
I'm very well, gents. How are you?
We are very well. Thank you for asking. Right, tell us.
Hello, Richard. Lovely to have you here on the big show.
What does,
Thank you.
stop calling it the big show. We're not Steve Wright in the afternoon. What does Sales Geek do? Just so we don't butcher it, because we talked about what it might do. You could just tell us what it does do, please.
Yeah, so most of what we do is providing part-time sales directors to small businesses and delivering endorsed sales training as well.
Okay, so why would I need a part-time sales director rather than recruiting myself? What's the sort of the main problem that you solve?
Yeah, so sales directors are expensive, and most businesses are founded by people that don't come from a sales background, and most of them, unfortunately, don't survive long enough to be able to afford a full-time one.
What does a full-time sales director cost, in your opinion?
So you're around six figures. So at the high end of it, you're going to be north of 200K. At the low end, probably 100 grand, 90 to 100 grand.
What do they do for a business if you have them full-time? What's the magic sauce they bring?
So what they should do is own the revenue line and everything that sits either side of it, and ultimately they're accountable for the strategy and the sales growth in that organization, and managing the teams, building out the plans, reporting that back to the board, etc., etc.
Did you used to do that? Was that your role in another company before you started this?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So what sort of company did you work for?
So I did that at quite a young age. So I quit a very well-paid job to do this. So I started the business when I was 33, and I essentially quit I was global sales director for a $300 million North American PLC. They manufactured architectural lighting. We used to, I suppose, sell that via architects into construction projects all around the world.
I mean, just interesting, how did you go and get more sales for an architectural company that sells lighting? What was your strategy?
So ultimately, in that world, it was relationship building with specifiers. So those specifiers are architects and lighting designers. So those guys, it's a really interesting kind of landscape because they don't buy anything, but they specify the products onto projects, and typically on very long sales cycles. So it's very much a relationship building, sell lots of key account management, and developing relationships over a period of time.
So when did you?
So you as a network marketeer, in effect. Sorry, JB.
Yeah, I mean, I did I suppose in that last role, I had a relatively big team of guys across most of the major cities outside of the US who would work with those architects, and yeah, lots of networking, lots of socializing with these guys, building relationships, and as and when they're working on large infrastructure projects, they would also look to specify our products.
So you offer fractional sales directors to companies. So the other side of this business is that you mentioned you've got 17 staff, but there's also 16 franchisees. So you will train up people to be one of these aforementioned fractional sales directors. Is that right?
So there's a level of training, but they have to have a minimum level of real world experience. So every one of our franchisees is an ex sales director from typically sort of a mid to large size company who, like me, didn't want to carry on that career path and wanted to do something themselves.
Why did you want to stop that career path out of interest?
I just didn't fit in that world. I was reasonably young at the time. I was less than 30 when I took on my first sales director role, and I love small business. I kind of grew up around SMEs and kind of worked really hard and found myself in a big business, but that kind of big American PLC culture just isn't for me. I didn't fit in there. I wasn't very happy. So ultimately, happiness was an important thing to me, and I wanted to give back. I want to take what I'd learned really and give that back to small businesses, because they're run by real people who are trying to make a real difference to themselves and their families and their communities, and that for me was more fulfilling than lining the pockets of already wealthy people.
And with regards to the services that you guys offer as Sales Geek, so you have this fractional sales director role. Do you also do like training as well? So if someone said, look, I don't want a fractional sales director, I've already got a sales team and they're all right, but I want them to be better. Do you do that stuff as well? Or is that what the franchisees go and deliver?
So yeah, it's a combination actually. So most of what we do is with small businesses, but we've been really fortunate to work with some big logos as well. We've kind of organically, they found us and we've found them over the last few years. So really proud to work with some of those big businesses too. And it's quite nice every now and again to work with companies that your friends and your family actually have heard of, because most of our clients are really small businesses that aren't known. So much. So yeah, the bigger training projects that we work on, we kind of tend to run those from HQ, but we'll still use our franchisees to facilitate some of the delivery of those projects.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, one of the first questions, the first question that we need to ask.
Just before we ask that
Just before we ask that question, let's have a preemptive
what does
one.
it cost for someone to come and do some work with you? What's your avatar?
So it depends on the product and service. So if it's fractional sales directorship, we've got businesses that are pre-revenue and early stage startup. I mean, we basically take a six-figure sales director and make them available for three figures in those small organizations. And we work on a retainer basis, and the retainer is sort of dictated by the amount of time that they need. And those smaller businesses don't need as much time. So in order for us to deliver on what we want to do, it's about making a sales education more accessible to the people that can't afford it otherwise.
Okay, cool. Right, let's do the big question, JB.
Right, so we've got some hate on YouTube for the fact we don't always ask this question, so we've created a jingle for it because people always like to ask our business owners how they started out in their business. So here's the fancy jingle. Then you can answer the question after.
How did you get your first customer? How'd you get the cash?
You seem like you enjoyed that, Richie, which I'm glad about. Yeah, great. That's the reaction we were hoping for from most people. So how did you get the cash, as the jingle asks? How did you get that first customer through the door?
Yeah, my first customer came from network, I guess, from my old industry. So I left a particular industry, but there was businesses in that market who needed what I did. So I guess practice what I preach, and started close to home to start with, and engaged in some conversations with some people, and picked up those first 2 or 3 customers from people that already knew.
And was that literally just posting that you were out now doing it by yourself on LinkedIn or socials, and that sort of shook the tree enough for people to get in contact with you?
Exactly right. I started the business with pretty much no money, but the great thing was back then, with an iPhone and a LinkedIn account, you could post content out for free, and it was pretty easy to educate my existing network on what I was doing. And yeah, several people put their hands up and said, "I think you might be able to help me out." And
can you remember what cash you got on the first deal? The first customer.
I still have that first invoice pinned to it's in a frame in the wall of my spare
really?
room. Yeah, it does. And actually, I've got a meeting room in my office now that's named after the person who that invoice was to as well. I think.
Can you tell us, or do you want to keep it confidential?
No, it's okay. No, so the first invoice, it was only £1,000. It wasn't a lot of money.
It meant a lot to you, I bet.
Yeah, I think it was worth more than the cash value. It was just, I suppose, it's that first
proof of concept, isn't it?
Yeah, you're just looking for. You're looking for belief really from people, and I think that first customer. Although I spent more time trying to figure out how to generate an invoice than I did getting the sale in the first place. Because when you work in a big business, those things magically appear from finance department. So it took me a while to figure out how to actually write one and get one built, and then what invoice number to put on it, because the ego got in the way and didn't want to put 0001.
Can I ask, what do you still proactively try and do stuff like that now to get customers as you did when you got customer one?
So I did for the first, I suppose the first sort of 3 or 4 years. So we franchised the business about 4 years ago. So sort of halfway through our 8 years in business. So the first 8 years we grew out a regional business here in the Northwest. We're based up in Lancashire, and for those first few years, as well as doing some delivery and working with clients, my main focus was generating opportunities for a growing team and filling up their diaries to go and deliver training and part-time sales director services. So I love that bit of the business. I love the front end, and building network and building demand for what we do.
Cool. So it doesn't sound like you do good old-fashioned network marketing, which obviously worked to get your first sales as much as you did in the beginning.
I guess the thing now with the franchise model, obviously we've got regional. That's a regional model. So our main focus now is rehabilitating sales directors out of kind of their corporate environment or big business environment into how to be a valuable member of your local business community. And that's quite a big transition for a lot of these guys. Some of them might have done 20, 30 years working in progressively bigger businesses. And I remember that transition very well. I'd only lived in Lancashire for 3 years, so I didn't really have a business network geographically up here. I had to build it from scratch, and I guess a big part of our value proposition to our franchisees is helping them on that transition as well.
Cool. Right, let's crack on with the challenges, JB.
Yeah, so biggest challenge as listed here by Richard is international growth. Tell us a little bit about the specifics around that challenge, if you don't mind, mate.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I was listening to what you said on the intro, James, in terms of there's plenty to go out here. I don't disagree. I guess there's two things that have driven our international growth. Some of it was opportunistic, where we've been approached by people that wanted to take a master franchise or a master license in some different regions around the world. So that's how we've ended up in India and Malaysia. But the US was a big one for us, and as much as anything, our world, certainly the sales training space, is dominated by US companies. So there was a degree of kind of pride, I guess, in kind of taking that back the other way. And we've made some good early traction, both in the US and in the Far East. But obviously, it's a time split and a resource split across those different areas. Our UK business is in good shape and it's growing nicely. But I guess obviously the reality of the situation is that there's quite a bit of front end work to do there. We don't have lots of ongoing costs because we have a master franchise model, but there's time and effort to get those businesses up and running and launched and onboarded. And I suppose trying to trade off the long-term value of that versus the short-term resource draw and cash draw, essentially.
I mean, my view is if you want to set up in another country, you've got to go there and put boots on the ground, be there a lot, and then put another person in the UK. Anyone that I've known do it very successfully has put a big team in the country that they want to conquer. Especially when you look at America, I know someone that's tried to set up a business in America with American partners. It hasn't gone well because they haven't spent 6 months out there building it with them. And I think that's what you need to do. And anyone that's done it, I had Richard Harpin at Business Masterclass, who started HomeServe and has very successfully set up HomeServe into a billion organization across the world. And he said it always failed unless he was out there and was on the floor with the people for a good chunk of time. And then he would put CEOs in the existing country so that he could build the future country.
He actually said, didn't he, don't try and go and build a business as a foreigner in those other locations.
Yeah.
He just doesn't believe that it works.
Well, he's talking about America, but he did go out there as well to build it with them and give them 6 months. And I think, people that I see that do well in China, and we are in Malaysia, Singapore, but we've got a team that we've moved our CEO from Britain and that we've based them out there. And there's a team of 7 of our ex-UK team now running our Asian team in Camp Beaumont. And I think that's really important. One of my biggest learns is if you don't put the people on the ground, it's not going to go very well.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So we've taken step one in terms of we've put an MD into the UK business early this year to free up time and the resources to focus on the international work. I suppose we travel backwards and forwards, but we're not physically stationed on the ground. And I guess our belief was that through the master franchise model, that the owners of that have the infrastructure and the resources locally. So I suppose they take the brand, but the infrastructure is underpinned by them rather than us.
That is what's good about the franchise model. Absolutely. It does allow you to do that, but you don't want it to be very successful. And they probably need a lot of coaching, and depends how big the country is. No, America it's like multiple countries within a country.
It's 50 countries, yeah.
So when you say you sell a master franchise, would you sell the American franchise, or would it be like you'd sell the Texas franchise, you'd sell the New York State franchise? How would you sort of how big is a master franchise?
Yeah, so it's a great question actually, and the short answer to the US thing is that the US is 11 master franchise regions for us. Some of those are single states, so California, Texas, Florida, and the other ones are sort of combinations of states. And typically we're trying to get to a I suppose a business population across those states that's in line with the business that we've built here in the UK.
Yeah.
And what about here? So do you sell master franchises here, or only like the regional ones? Because obviously the UK is that much smaller.
Yeah, no, so we still own and run the UK master. So you could argue that we are our own master franchise for the UK still, whilst also growing the global business. But we've recently started sort of splitting out kind of the P&L and the cost base for those two businesses, so we can have a much clearer look on how they perform and what they do. But yeah, it's we run the UK whilst also kind of supporting the master franchises internationally.
So if I was going to buy a franchise, what would you, if I'm like in Bromley in Southeast London, would I get Bromley as an area? Is that what you guys sell?
Yeah, it's available, James. So.
Podcasting doesn't work out. I've got a secondary option here. Right, so the international growth.
What does it cost to buy a franchise?
Oh yeah, I should ask, shouldn't I?
Ask you for a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have two levels, but the primary franchise offering is our scale up franchise, which the upfront fee on that's 35,000.
I'll have two of them. Where else is available? Probably where else? Right, international. Did we cover the international growth thing?
I mean, look, they're just my thoughts and wisdom on setting up in another
boots on the ground.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Second biggest challenge then, and this is an interesting one, transitioning from being a founder to a CEO. Tell us more about that, Richard.
Yeah, I suppose I battle with this quite a lot, probably in my own head rather than the reality of the situation. But yeah, I guess I feel more comfortable in that kind of in the founder space and getting things out the ground, doing a little bit of everything across the business, and kind of in the fight every day than I do as a business has matured. And we're not a big business in terms of headcount at HQ. I guess we're big in terms of our footprint through the franchise model, and I suppose we're growing in terms of revenues, etc. But I suppose some of the more mature elements of the job, around board meetings and sort of the management and the leadership of the team, and I guess that's to do that well, it feels like it's quite a different skill set and mindset to, I suppose, sort of the founder mindset in those first couple of years. And I still feel like I lean back towards that than I do into the role of the CEO.
Probably comfort zone because of what you know. How are you dealing with this? Because you're obviously now you're going from like CEO to almost like a chairman-y kind of role. Would you say these days?
Depends
on buying so much stuff.
Depends on the business and how established it is within our ecosystem. But
how do you deal with the transition of like one role?
I
to
can't
another?
wait to not be running things, but then I do dive in and
buy something else. So you have to
stick my opinion in on the way they're being run if I don't like it.
So
well, I do. I mean, I think
advice.
because I can sometimes see stuff that others can't see.
Because you're getting to sit above it.
Well, yeah, and because I'm wired up weirdly. I can have the illogical thoughts rather than just the logical thoughts.
So do you remember the founder to CEO step?
No. I do believe in putting management around me for the things I don't want to do. If you like doing something though, and it really gets you excited, I think carry on doing it.
Yeah. Like content with you, like a lot of your team would look at it and go, hang on, he's how busy? And yet he'll still do a day a fortnight for podcast. He'll still sit on a Sunday and write a newsletter.
I think it's highly important.
Yeah.
And highly leveraged.
And also you enjoy doing it, so you do it.
Well, I don't enjoy it as much as now that it's become something serious. That is just who I am though.
Yeah.
I love being a magician, and then when you start getting paid for it and people book you 2-3 years in advance, I enjoy it less. I don't know why that is. And now the podcast has become, and the whole content thing employs people. I have to write those newsletters. Yeah. I have to make those YouTube videos. I have to write those books. I have to speak at those seminars. And it's become something very serious. So But I don't hate it, JB. I still like doing this stuff, and therefore I'm passionate about it. I want to improve it all the time. But I think once it starts monetizing, there is a certain level of
switch from enjoyment to necessity
or profession.
Yeah. Yeah. So in sort of advice to Richard here in terms of that transition from founder to CEO, is it, what advice could you dish out here so he doesn't fall back into founder comfort?
Well, if you don't like doing the CEO thing, you put management in place so that you can go out there and look for opportunities, and that's probably what an entrepreneur's good at. I don't manage any of my businesses day to day. This is, I really don't. I look for the new opportunities. I look for the innovation. I look for brilliant marketing, improving the culture and recruiting the best talent. That's what I do. And if you think you need to be a CEO, but maybe you need to employ someone else to do that so that you can look for next opportunities to grow the business. And that's fine.
What say you on that subject, Richard?
Yeah, I think that landed with me. Yeah, hit the bullseye there. I think I'm in my happiest place when I'm out rather than in, and I tend to find that adds value to the business, whether it's attracting customers, franchisees, future team members. And generally, when I'm out and in the field, I come back with more energy than I left. I really enjoy that.
And here's the thing, Richard. I speak to entrepreneurs and business owners, all the ones that are super successful. Really, they're the chief sales operator. They're the sales director of their business, and they've put someone in to manage the day to day. No one can sell like you said, look, a really good sales director is 200 grand. No SME can afford that. That's why the entrepreneur needs to be out there selling. It's much easier to bring management in, operations in, than to someone that can go and bring in £1 million contract.
100%. Yeah, I think it's on me really in terms of, I suppose, how the business is structured currently, and I think there is a lot of that kind of the week to week, month to month management of the business. That
and Richard, you could get a really good PA that can manage the business. You don't need a CEO. I mean, what is your revenues?
It's around 4 million at the moment.
Yeah, so get a really good PA. Like an executive assistant that can be /office manager /PA. You're 4 million. You don't necessarily need a CEO yet. Once you get to 10 million, then go into the marketplace and find that person. Because you can put, your magic stardust with a really good executive assistant /office manager that's not going to have delusions of grandeur. Sometimes people say, "Oh, you're the CEO." Well, I want this, I want that, and then they're not the right person.
Overtitled.
Overtitled in a £4 million revenue business when they think it's a 40 million revenue business.
There we go. Third biggest challenge: managing cash as the business has been bootstrapped. Tell us a bit more context of that challenge or conundrum.
Yeah, so I suppose started the business 8 years ago with 4 months worth of mortgage payments and lucky bills in the bank, and kind of staved off bringing investors in, and we've been approached about it probably more so over the last sort of year or so. And I guess the conundrum really is, I know we could go faster, and but also I love what I do, enjoy how we get to run the business at the moment. And I suppose the fear would be, bringing in external investment might change that. But equally, I want to go faster. And it's just
what money do you need to go faster, and why?
So there's 2 or 3 key areas in the business that we would invest in. I suppose ultimately our model, when we kind of extrapolate it out over the next kind of 5 years, is geared around 2 things really. It's the volume of franchisees in the model, and then the levels of utilization of those franchisees, both of which we could dial up if we have more resources.
I still don't understand. I mean, it's if you had an extra £100,000, what would you do with it?
I would put 2 more people in recruitment. That is at the minute we're kind of slightly undergunned in that area, given how important it is to our growth. So there'd be a couple of hires in recruitment.
So you want cash to recruit people,
yeah,
and you're worried that you will burn cash because you will not bring in enough cash to pay the people. Is that it?
There's a ramp up, yeah.
So why don't you get good at sales and bring in more sales so that you can afford those people?
So again, for me, it goes back to the earlier point in some respects, which is getting back more into that part of the business. I've kind of drifted away from it as the business has grown.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think,
let me tell you, I want to tell you, I obviously meet lots of people that take on investment. If they've never known anything else, they can cope with it. There's a lot of these young whippersnappers, they go and raise loads of millions of pounds. They've never been on their own and owned 100% of it. They're pre-revenue. They're used to being accountable to these people. If you've been used to half a decade of doing it on your own, you've generated 4 million of revenue, you're going to give up a slice of your pie. They will decide when you're selling the business. They will tell you what to do to a certain degree. And that can be very awkward for some people, much more awkward than anything else. And when I describe it to people, and I did this at Business Masterclass, and I just want to sort of part this with you. Taking on venture capital, private equity, or an investor can feel like when you're laying in bed at night and your son or daughter at 5 years old gets into your bed, then wets the bed. And for a minute, it feels warm and lovely. And then the reality kicks in that you've got to get up and change the sheets and do all of that and have a bad night's sleep. And that, I think, is a lot of the reasons why I have chose to lean into the difficulty and stay 100% owner of my businesses, rather than what would be very easy for me to do, take in private equity, venture capital. So the homework I've got for you is to read a book called How to Get Rich by Felix Dennis. And there's a whole chapter in there on about taking an investment into your business. And he talks about friends of his that it just ruined them. If you just need a bit more money to pay a few more people's staff, don't think you need an annual salary times 12. You just need 2 or 3 months running money.
Yeah.
Get good at sales. It's the name above your door. Bring in more cash flow, employ the people, and own 100% of the thing that you've already been owning, and you've had it for 5 years.
Amen.
Yes, it's difficult, but it could be even more difficult taking in a big check and losing part of the business that you own. If you said to me, well, I've got 10 restaurants and I want to open 100, you really do need someone to write a check to do that, because it's very capital intensive. What you're asking for is a cash flow lend to see you through a few salaries. And I think you'd be foolish to give up a slice of the pie.
Thank you. Probably what I needed to hear. Actually,
that's what you wanted to hear. You took that advice. You jumped at it.
Yeah, no, I think the whole way through this kind of debate again, and we've been, it's been in my mind for many months now. But all of my spidey senses say exactly what you just said, James. I'm definitely going to read that book, by the way. Thank you.
It's a fantastic book. That it is probably the best book for entrepreneurs and business owners. It really is just amazing. And that guy, when he died, was worth 500 million 20 years ago. So it really does know his onions.
Right, let's jump to the questions that you wanted to ask. So question 1 was, how do you manage transition from founder to CEO? We've covered that one off. How do you know if you're good enough to be the CEO of your own business?
Well, I don't think many entrepreneurs are very good managers of businesses. I think entrepreneurs, if you really, translate it, it's the seeker of opportunity. And they're very few and far between people that can spot good opportunities, roll the dice and take action and implement. And that's where entrepreneurs need to be. They need to be looking for the next meal, not how do we prepare the meal.
Oh, that's a good analogy. I like that. Is the challenge that you've got here, Richard, because it's come up a few times, is it sort of just like what you should be spending your time doing? Is that actually part of the challenge that you've now got? Because you sort of stepped away from it because it's become a slightly bigger business, but actually maybe the thing you've stopped doing is the thing you need to do the most?
Yeah, I think that's really fair. Like, I guess my whole career has been in sales to some capacity. I left school at 16 and it kind of ended up in sales and had a good run at it as a career. And it's the bit of the business that I love the most, as well as doing bits of delivery and a few speaking gigs here and there. And I'd love to spend more of my time doing that, which is, like I said earlier, it also generates opportunity for the business. But I guess I've just kind of, I suppose, been pulled into, sort of quote unquote running the business rather than kind of leading it from the front.
Have you got a good ops person who can run it for you?
Yeah, so we've got, I suppose, within the infrastructure here, we've got 2 or 3 guys in different capacities operationally. Ironically, one of them is my wife, and we've been in business together 8 years, and we're still married, which is probably the greatest success of our business. But she's wired in the complete opposite way to me, in the best possible way, and she's great at that. So there's her and probably 2 other people that between them could do it. It's probably me just getting comfortable not being in it.
Maybe what you should do then, instead of looking at a CEO or looking at how you're going to fund these things, create yourself a really basic org chart And he doesn't. But within that, what are the roles and responsibilities? So maybe don't even put the titles on it. Just put the name of the person and what their skill set best serves as a role and responsibility. Because there's probably a bunch of the stuff that you're doing, there's probably 30, 40, 50% of your time that could be allocated off to other people who take, 10% each of the jobs that they're better, frankly, at doing than you are. And then you don't need a CEO because you can just give out the jobs. You need to be better at delegating, not finding a CEO. And then you could spend your time in your zone of genius, and they do as well. The stuff that you hate doing, bookkeeping, VAT returns, booking diaries, that's somebody's superpower.
Yeah, absolutely.
I sounded a bit like you then, didn't I?
Very
you
good.
are definitely rubbing off on me.
Very good.
You are rubbing off. Not in a bad way. Right, I think that was. Oh, sorry. Question number 3. What's the most valuable skill that you've learned? What's the most
Marketing.
valuable skill?
I think marketing.
In sales, you also about that.
Yeah,
You?
marketing. Like look, people think about marketing as about understanding PPC, Google Ads, Meta. No. I think really what is a very valuable skill is learning copywriting.
Mm.
If you can get good at copy, then all of the other marketing just sort of fits into place. They say there's a thing with all things like this, in certain like skills. So let me just think about this.
Oh, I know.
What's
What's the one thing that you can do that makes everything else either easier or irrelevant?
so in cooking, like if you know how to make a roux, like the base of a sauce,
You can make anything from there.
like everything else that sort of
Stems off that.
Yeah. Like then you can make a roux, you can make macaroni cheese, you can make you can make loads of things.
That's why in kitchens the number one test is can you make an omelette?
Yeah, or scrambled egg.
A scrambled egg.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Like if you know how to make scrambled egg, well, that's Gordon Ramsay's test.
Yeah.
So he watches them how they make scrambled egg, and then they've got some basic skills. They can then learn the rest. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the sort of point that I'm making. I think if you want to be good at making videos, at making podcasts, at sending emails, designing leaflets, once you understand the power of copy, everything sort of slots into place. Yeah, and we're seeing this now, JB. Have you seen the amount of print journalists becoming master podcasters on Times Radio, on the Daily Tea podcast?
Creating their own ecosystems on Substack.
How many ministers and prime ministers
We're in the comms department.
Yeah, and can write really well.
Yeah.
And then they write brilliant speeches, and it just all stems off that. And I think if you can write really well, you'll be an exceptional salesperson because you understand the power of words.
Absolutely. Richard, is there any other questions or queries that you've got? I think you maybe came for some validating of some things you already said we wanted to do.
That's this podcast
permission.
is people know what they need
permission,
to do.
Yeah. It's permission for grown-ups. We should change the name of it. This is permission for grown-ups.
Yeah, and a kick up the backside as well.
Yeah, maybe
along the way.
Maybe a bit of that as well. Yeah, any other questions that you got, mate?
No, it's been awesome. Thank you, chaps.
Well, where do they go to find out about you, baby?
If you want to connect with me personally, LinkedIn is kind of where I hang out most of the time. And for the business, salesgeek.co.uk.
Can I just say, there was one thing that you said that you just sort of fluttered off your lips. But I think you should be speaking at conferences literally every week. I mean, that's how, if this was my business, because I think all business owners want to know about sales.
Oh, 100%.
I would have the Sales Geek podcast. I would definitely reach out to JB, make the Sales Geek, learn how to get sales to your business. And you constantly talk to people about doing that. That turns into a YouTube channel. Then you speak at loads of conferences. You'll get paid to do it and pick up clients because every single business
needs sales.
And I would be making that a primary focus if I owned this business. I'd be going to the opening of an envelope.
You could speak at every single industry event.
Absolutely.
Because every industry needs sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great shout.
And I know you said you did it, but I thought, really, I would like to hear that 90% of your time is doing that.
You should be doing it 52 weeks of the year.
Yeah.
One gig a week. Maybe make that your deliverable.
Yeah. You should be doing more gigs than Taylor Swift. Literally. That's what you should be doing.
There you go. I was wondering where the Taylor Swift reference was going to come for today's podcast, and there we go.
Me. She'll come to me one day.
She will not. She's got zero interest in you, my friend.
Okay, cool.
So Sales Geek, and by the way, you guys, if you want to see a fantastically well executed website, salesgeek.co.uk is brilliant. This is this is one of the best websites I've seen in a long time. It's really, really good. Really good.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Right
Brilliant.
then,
Thank you, Richard, for being on the podcast. Take care, mate.
Thanks, James.
Cheers, mate. Richard, all the way from Salisbury. That is a very good website, by the way.
And probably the first one that we've done where we've got a video guest on. I don't know if it's come in on the edit. Hopefully
it has. Let us know if you like the video guest being on the pod. Right, it's time for 8 Traits of the Greats. The Book of the Show Air award-winning entrepreneur, James Sinclair.
Before we do that,
Bloody hell.
with
now
the same
what?
jingle,
Yeah.
it's time for Post for a Punt. Or should we do 8 Traits of the Greats
Let's do 8
first?
Traits of the Greats
Let's do 8
first, and then we'll do Post for a Punt. Right,
Yeah.
we're going to let Richard go as well, because he's still in the background. God love him. Right, it's time of the show where James Sinclair decides what 8 traits make up a great entrepreneur, and he rates them. You don't need your board, you got your other board.
No, Stevie, as
goes.
producer Stevie, please can you sort this out so that we've got a nice board? Can you take it back to the team? And we'd like something branded rather than this piece of cardboard. I mean, we're an established podcast
Steve,
now.
just let him know I'm fine with this, by the way. It's him. It's him that's being the demand.
Okay, starting with the end in mind. Are we going one or none?
No, I think he is. I think he is starting in the mind.
Passionate about their cause.
Did you hear him? He loves selling.
Untold amounts of resilience.
We didn't really find out.
Well, he was bootstrapped, you know.
Yeah, no,
But
true.
he's not prepared to be resilient enough. And he wants to get in an investor just to pay a bit of cash
to
flow.
pay for the salaries.
That's a 0.
Oh, dear.
They master relationships with people.
Yeah, I love
Super
him.
selling. Commercial awareness.
Super selling. We didn't ask.
Didn't
we don't
ask,
know.
can't give that.
It's
They
our
innovate so they don't evaporate.
I think he's definitely trying to do that for
They're
sure.
master marketeers. Good website.
Good website, but hasn't got enough leads.
Half. They stay teachable and curious.
Oh, yeah, he's mad for it.
Can I just
Absorbs
say,
that information
there's
like a
something you
sales
said
sponge.
There's something you said there. There's
Did
something
I?
you said there that really harnesses the difference between sales and marketing. Marketing gets you the leads and the sales closes the leads. And I think you just sort of said that there. And I think it's worth pointing that out. You want to get good at marketing to fill the funnel up and then execute on the funnel with really good sales.
All marketing as well, by the way, should lead to a sale. Or else, what are you doing it for?
What are you doing it for?
What are you doing it for?
Well, that's a
what did he
5.5.
get? A 5.5. He ain't having a laugh. Let's go.
This is
Here
Stephen,
we
you
go.
love it,
He's got a 5. This business is gonna thrive. He's got a 5. This business is gonna thrive. He's got a 5. This business is gonna thrive. He's got a 5. This business is gonna thrive. He's got a 5.
5.
He's got a 5.
5.
He'll stay alive. He'll stay alive because he's got a 5. Go, Stevie.
yeah. Oh, I just love
I love when Chuds
it. It's
is away.
time for Post for a Punt.
It's time to post for a punt. Hey, if you've got something you'd like to send, stick it in the post. If you would like us to boast, stick it in the post. If you would like us to boast, post for a punt. I can't say anything else that rhymes with punt because we all know what I'm thinking of. I don't want it to slip out.
Now we've got a letter here to James and team. Open the joy. To James and the team, enjoy the toffaloffaloffaloffus, which is my favourite biscuit, by the way.
Oh,
This
they're here.
They're here. This is the Toffaloffus biscuit from Thornton Mason. Thornton Mason should be sponsoring this podcast because we have definitely got them some sales on them.
I reckon, yeah. They're doing all right without us as well, though. I think maybe
Maybe. Who owns Thornton Mason?
Harrods, isn't it?
No,
Oh, Selfridges.
no,
It's you, isn't it? You bought it.
no,
James Sinclair.
no. Primark.
No.
Si, senor.
No way.
No, no.
The only company that has clothing worth more than their
Well,
biscuits.
Can I say it's the people that own Primark own Thornton Masons, but it sounds better when you say Primark own one of the most luxury brands in the
That's
UK,
fantastic.
and also can dress you for a fiver.
That lid costs more than their shoes. I mean, who could have thought it?
Enjoy the Toffaloffaloffaloffus, the West End MT of biscuits. What's MT stand for?
Oh, I think they're MT.
Is that the company?
Yes.
Rich, dramatic, and 87% more theatrical than necessary. Pair with strong tea and even stronger opinions on the business strategy. Looking forward to chatting with you. So did they come in, Steve?
They've already been on.
Oh,
but
they've
it
already
came
been on.
late. It got delayed.
Oh,
It was
right.
Lindsay. She did the musical theatre school.
Oh, yes. They
Lovely
came in.
Lindsay.
West End Theatre School.
She was great.
Was this pre the call?
Well, it was meant to arrive pre,
Yes.
but unfortunately it didn't. But here we go, post for a
So there you
punt.
go.
Should have been a prequel. It ended up being a sequel.
Go and listen
go.
to the episode if you'd like. We'll have a cup of tea and a toffle-less biscuit later.
We were talking to her, and you said you should basically become the Rose Bruford or whatever, Rose Bruford of West End things. And on Thursday, I walked past Rose Bruford.
All right. I don't
That is a
understand.
popular school. Oh my good God!
What was I going to say? We've had another couple of posts for a punts, haven't we? We got another one for later on in another episode.
Yeah, we'll do it later.
Oh,
So if you'd
got
like
very
to
production essence,
promote
isn't
your
she?
business, if you're a small business that
like
you
Fortnum and Mason.
yeah,
That's a free promo from two
yeah.
people.
Yeah, but if you do, if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner and you have a product that you'd like us to mention on the show, send it in for Post for a Punt.
Post for a punt. Da 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 da. Post for a punt.
There we go. There we go. Thanks very much for listening in, and we'll see you when
whoa,
you're
whoa,
older.
Oh, tight.
Nah, there's another feature.
Oh my God! Half day Harry. What's going on there? It's time for this. I'll have it because he's bloody useless. He forgets how
It's
to
Jim
read.
versus JP on
Thanks.
the quiz that's business.
Cheers, producer Stevie.
Business knowledge and it's fun.
Which one's clever and which one's dumb?
Easy wizzy, let's get quizzing.
Inside this factical folder, we have a fact around the sector of the business of which we have just discussed on the podcast with today's guest. And today's question is, on average, what is the conversion rate of a percentage as a percentage for B2B sales?
Easy for
for-
you to say.
Oh, this
I
is
mean-
right. Okay,
So you just slagged me off saying I couldn't read, and you
on average,
sound
what
like a
is
7-year-old.
On average, what is the conversion rate as a percentage for a B2B sales call on a product?
All I'm hearing is waffle. Can you just read it properly?
I am.
Right.
Turn your ears on. Ready?
I'm listening.
On average, what is the conversion rate as a percentage for a B2B sales call on a product priced under £10,000? There you go. On average, what is the conversion rate as a percentage for a B2B sales call on a product priced under £10,000? Look at this guy. He's having the time of his life, son. I love sales to do.
What are you going with, JB?
Don't ask me.
Well, I've posted for a punt. I've gone with 14%. That's probably too high, isn't it?
I think it could be a little bit higher, because I think by the time you got onto a phone call, you're already pre-qualified to a certain extent. Unless
We
it's a
don't
cold
know the
call.
fact, do we?
We don't know the facts, but we'll have a guess. I'm going to go 22%.
Okay, I'm going 14%, and the answer is...
The answer is...
It's bloody cold in here. I can't wait to sort the heating out.
Oh my good God. You're like a little old lady, you are. The answer is, bring me the cup, producer Stevie. 25.7%. The average cold call conversion rate in the UK is approximately 2%. Thank you. My God, that's got some weight to it. Approximately 2.3 across all sectors in the UK. The average success rate for cold calls leading to booked meetings is around 8%. Calling prospects at... Here you go. Some interesting
I thought
facts.
it was talking about cold calls.
Absolutely. Oh, okay. Sorry, Spoonie. No, we weren't. Calling prospects at 10 till 11 a.m. or 2 till 3 demonstrates better results.
Oh, that's interesting.
So there you go. So if you are someone who hasn't got time to do sales all day, just do them between 10 and 11 and 2 and 3.
Thank you for that information.
I think that's right as well. Look at that.
Look at that. We got one apiece today.
One apiece so far. There we go. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. If you have enjoyed today's podcast, then I think you're wise to have done so, because I think you're right. This is a great podcast. You could tell your friend. Not only could you post for a punt, you could pass the pod.
Yeah, pass.
Pass this pod on to one other person. Maybe there's someone who needs some more sales. Just let them know. And leave us a rating and review. We say this every week on the podcast. Nobody bloody bothers, so I don't know why we say it every time, but there you go. Please leave a review because it actually helps us. It's the reason why we're the 4th biggest entrepreneurship podcast called Google.
I got into Google.
Anything else you'd like to say?
If you'd like to come and see me at Buying Businesses
When
Masterclass.
could I? I'd love to.
This is a whole day where I teach people how to buy businesses, and I'd love to see you there. You can buy your tickets at jamessinclair.net. Tickets a few £100, whole day on all the strategies and tactics that I've used to buy 20 plus companies. I'll be sharing it all with you.
By the
Something
way,
to say, Stevie.
by the way,
shaking
she's
over
doing
there.
she's doing a
dance,
cold
doing
shoulder.
If you'd
Dance.
like to create your own podcast, which I think Sales Geek need to do, where
They
do they
should.
need to go,
I think
JB?
they've already got one. one, but they could be doing it better. They need to go to This Is Phonic, Phonic, because apparently it's badly spelt, according to James Sinclair. A bloody stupid name. Means audio, you idiot.
Do you know what I would, if I had your company?
Oh, what would you do? I'd
would
burn
call
it
it-
down and I'd start, and I'd come and work for me at my industrial site, picking, packing and picking.
No, I would call it the podcast company or something like that.
Do you know what? I do own the URL, podcasting.co.uk. I probably should use that better, shouldn't I?
There you go. There we go. What was, there was some...
Here we go. Here comes a rubbish joke. We haven't had one today. You finished?
No, I had something very important I wanted to
No,
say.
you didn't.
And I forgot what it was, so I'll have to think about it.
Let's think
For the
about
next
it.
one.
Tune in for the next one and find out what James Sinclair was thinking about on this episode. If that doesn't hook you to come back, I don't know what will. See you next one. Ta-da!
Buongiornos.
If you love the business broadcast, why not come on the show? We're looking for business owners that have got challenges. 3, in fact. And if you're challenged and you would like some help and get your business exposed to the hundreds of thousands of people that view and listen to this show, we'd love to have you on. Get to my website, jamessinclair.net, click on the podcast button and fill in the application form. Tell us about your challenges. And if you're challenged enough and ambitious to grow and you want some help, we'd love to have you on the show.